not just going to pretend like, I don't have to introduce her because she's my daughter. I cannot see your... Hi, Tootie Pie.
It's weird because we're like in the same house, so...
We're in the same house. So this is Thandiwe Abdullah, co-founder of Black Lives Matter Youth Vanguard. She is one of the original members of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. She's also an organizer on the Student Congress with March for Our Lives. She is a high school senior at LACES, and the reason we're bringing her on is not just because I love you differently than I love everybody else because you're my firstborn baby. But sorry, y'all.
Hi, everybody that's saying hi to me. Okay, sorry.
But because part of our demands is around education, and students deserve issued a set of demands that's really rooted in your experience and the experiences of your siblings and lots of other students during the midst of the worst global pandemic in human history. And so I know that when everything went down, I was watching you struggle as we weren't sure if the world was ending, right? And I was watching you struggle to do your school assignments, which just seemed inhumane for you to be worried about your grade in science or an upcoming science test as we're not sure if the world is ending. So can you speak about what that was like and about why it was important for Black students to issue a set of demands around what you need in terms of education in particular, but also who you are as whole and complete human beings and how all parts of this pandemic affect us?
Yeah, so, just coming out of school in and of itself was like really kind of a shock for me. I mean, I'm a senior. I skipped a grade so I could graduate, and now I'm not having graduation. And so, I'll take what comes. I'm not really going to dwell on that. I'm not too upset. But, just Black students in general, we, especially at my school, haven't been, our mental health hasn't really been considered and treated the way that it should be. And our overall wellness hasn't been really taken seriously, I think. And especially now, I feel like now is the time when we need to really start thinking about like who needs the most attention when it comes to these things. And it's definitely Black students. I had a talk with one of my teachers, and I tried to explain to him. He gave a lot of Jewish students the option to not join the Zooms for Passover, which I think is great, honestly, and I was really glad that he recognized that. But he had a Zoom call during one of the times when Muslims are supposed to pray throughout the day, and it's Ramadan, so I was like, hey, I'm going to be praying at this time, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, I can't give you exceptions. And I just feel like, I feel like that was a little racist. I feel like it was a little discriminatory. But overall, I feel like these demands that we have are going to really put an end to a lot of these discriminatory and racist practices that we've been seeing against Black students. So the first one is universal passage for all students. We can't expect all the kids to keep up with their schoolwork as they did, during when school was actually happening. I'm not learning anymore. I'm just getting assignments. So you can't keep, progressing with these assignments as if I'm learning things when I'm not. So I think the universal passage aspect is really great, and it really takes a lot of stress off of the students. So, yeah. Graduation ceremonies when it's safe, yes, please, because like that's kind of the whole reason why I skipped a grade this year. It's fine if it doesn't end up happening, but I would really appreciate if our school district put an effort into trying to make that happen when everything is safe, especially because a lot of students already gave their money to these things. And yeah. The next one is food distribution with no ICE or police presence at the sites. I think that's super, super, super important. We know that our schools in our school district haven't really been as, I don't know, open to hearing our discussions about like having police and ICE away from our campuses. And so I think with, everything that's going on right now, policing and deportation should be at the very least of anyone's problems. That should not be on anyone's mind. We should be concerned about everyone's health and wellness. And when people are trying to eat their food, people are trying to get their food. No one should have to worry about, okay, do I starve or do I risk my life to show up at this location to get free food? Like, that's a choice that no one should have to make. So I think that's a huge, huge demand. And mental health support for students who come back to school. I think that this is, I talked about mental health a little bit before I started getting into everything else, but it does do something to your mental health to think that the world's going to end, to fear that a disease will take your life. You don't know how many students, parents, grandparents, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, relatives, friends have been affected by this virus. You don't know if anyone's passed away or if they're in the hospital. So I think, schools definitely need to rally behind all of their students and really take the emotional support into mind. Also, being at home with your family, it does do something. I'm sorry.
It makes you very happy.
I'm not talking about you, but some students find school as a way to escape from their families. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I had a situation where if I was living at my dad's house and I had to stay there every single day, I don't know what would have happened to me. So you don't know really what's going on in students' lives. And we really have to take into account like the whole holistic aspect of how we can support students right now. And I think just in general, when we talk about young people, usually we don't really like to minimize the problems that they can go through, that we can go through. And I think, this coronavirus has really brought a lot of things to light, but I think it's a really good time to start taking these problems more seriously. Sorry that I'm stuttering. And yeah, the other demands I don't have in front of me. I didn't have enough time to write them down.
Well, people can go, they're on our website, right? tinyurl.com/BlackLA demands, that we've pinned them in the comments. So please look at those demands. We're running out of time, but we really want to thank you for your advocacy because you've taken on this work. We want to thank all of the students who are helping
to me?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Who are helping to realize these demands, because you won your top demand. There is universal passage of for all classes, and you all won that. We know that only came through demand.